पे मिली ये कामयाबियां शोहरत कदम कदम पे मिली नसीब सा मिला माँ तेरी दुआ से।
Assalamu alaikum. You tuned in News in Focus with me, Sumaya Khan, stepping in for Brother Yunus Sakur. Today is Wednesday, 22nd October 2025, corresponding to 30th Rabi al-Thani 1447 in the Islamic calendar. You're listening to Radio Al-Ansar 90.4 FM in Durban and 105.6 FM in Pietermaritzburg.
तवाफ मैंने किया सही बर्बादी जो मैंने मेरा किया माँ तेरी दुआ से।
Tonight, News in Focus brings you the latest on unfolding current situations in Pakistan and latest developments in Gaza. Our guest this evening, FAYYAZ Khan, Head of Political Affairs, Pakistan South Africa Association. Later on, we'll be linking up with Sister Yvonne Ridley, international journalist, Freedom Flotilla returnee, and Brother HASSAN MOTALA, economist, asset management. Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to Sumaya Khan, filling in for Brother Yunus Sakur. The current situation, Kashmir, Pakistan, in Azad, Jammu and Kashmir, the part of Kashmir administered by Pakistan, administrated Kashmir, and broader implications involving Kashmir-Pakistan relations. Scale protests broke out around 29 September 2025 in Azad, Kashmir, led by a coalition called the Jammu Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee. The grievances included demands for lower electricity tariffs, subsidized wheat and food, removal of special legislative seats, 12 reserved seats for immigrants and privileges for elite bureaucrats. Well, cultural, political and administrative reforms in the region, the protests escalated in deadly clashes with security forces. On 1st October, violent confrontations, 4 dead and 100 injured. The federal government accepted a 25-point version of protest, officially ended. How this ties into Pakistan and the wider Kashmir context. Our guest in studio, Brother FAYYAZ Khan. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to News in Focus with me, Sumaya Khan.
Thank you. Allah. At least we get the slot, something that we speak about South Asian politics, especially Kashmir and Pakistan.
Do you know, right now, this is so current. On India administrated side, the security apparatus is very active with the heightened vigilance. After major attacks, there are serious disruptions due to both militant actions and natural disasters. Politics is volatile and civil society and tourism remain under strain. Can you tell us more about this?
Sumaya, this issue, it is related to many of the problems that Kashmiri faced, and when the conclusion and the single point and clear point is that Kashmiris were promised by the United Nations, by the world bodies. And this conflict was taken by Prime Minister Nehru to the UN. And there is a resolution and there is a promise with the Kashmiris. Until that promise is not fulfilled, until Kashmir issue is not resolved, South Asia cannot see a peace. They will never witness the peace. So the world are silent on many, for many reasons. And this is why we want social, political, and religious activists, women, men, to speak for Kashmiris, because their voices are silenced. They are being oppressed there systematically. They see the brutality. And now we entering in this month of October, whereas on 27th October 1947, India invaded Kashmir. It's a black day in Kashmiri history. Pakistan South Africa Association here at the Watan House will be hosting a seminar also to let the people, the activists, know that what actually happening on the ground over there, and give them a figure of their brutality. Racial profiling for many Kashmiri students, women and men and activists in other part of India when they go there. We need to highlight that in raise this in human act consistently done by this regime.
Bilateral cross-border attention, the attack in Pahalgam, April 2025, escalated tensions between India and Pakistan significantly. India accused Pakistan of supporting militant infiltration. Pakistan denied the allegations. This led to India downgrading diplomatic ties with Pakistan and took other retaliatory steps despite ceasefire along the lines of control. Why does the region remains close to the brink of greater escalation?
Sumaya, it all were a false flag operation. It was done, orchestrated by elements. There is no truth. And the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the leadership of Pakistan, offers sincere, international, impartial investigation that Pakistan has nothing to do with it. And yet, they dare to attack Pakistan and some Pakistan military installation. And then the world saw what happened to Indian. And their ambitious for supremacy in South Asia, it's all became a dream for them. So Pakistan is itself a big victim of the terrorism, and Pakistan will never support any extreme extremism in any part of the world. We are the victim. And we know the pain, we know the loss, and we know what happened if your country is under terrorism. So we wish security and safety for all other Indians also, as we want it for Pakistanis. But this was a false flag operation. India realized very late, and India should have that courage and boldness to accept international impartial investigation towards that Pahalgam attack. We all condemn that attack, and we all condemn that the innocent lives were taken. It's not that something we owning it or thinking it, but that was an unfortunate part of the BJP and RSS agenda. They were not realizing, and they does not want a peace. They want supremacy, and that was the reason that we end up in the war.
For our listeners, can you briefly describe what's currently happening in Kashmir and why the situation has intensified recently?
You're talking about Azad Kashmir, the Pakistani part of Kashmir.
Ji.
Yeah, there are grievances. It's not only in Kashmir, it's very normal in other part of Pakistan, also in Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan. But these are internal issues. There were people, they had grievances, and there was some demand for subsidies, and the other was something that was reforms need in a legislation assembly, where because of some numbers that used to be elected from the other part of Pakistan on the special seat for Kashmiris, and they does not want that. There are numbers of demands presented by them, but it all went well, and government of Pakistan and government of Azad Kashmir have settled it down. Everybody realize, and we are praying that it will be implemented, and the people must have their right, and the people must be listened by the Pakistan. The Kashmiris are in Pakistan have a very special status in our heart, in our society. We know what they're going through. We know there are so many things still. There are so many international obligation for them. Something that they have, something they does not have, which they needed. So we support also their agitation, and definitely there were some elements they wanted to sabotage or instigate some other thing, to carry their own ulterior agenda in this one. But everything came down, and all the demands of the action committee were accepted and settled. Both government was set there, and it ended up candidly.
Brother Fayaz Khan, you are the head of political affairs, Pakistan South Africa Association. How are the events in both Indian administrative and Pakistan administration, Kashmir, different at the moment? How are they both different?
From Kashmiris, from Pakistani perspectives, always are allowed to have their own say, and it has been promised that they must be asked if whether they wanted to live with Pakistan or with India or independent. Pakistan is very clear about it, but they must have the right of self-determination to decide what they wanted to do, not outsider. When it's come to the Indian side, it will never be in peace, because they wanted to turn that in minority. The majority, they wanted to turn it minority, and they don't have that basic right of. We can see so many of their leadership is in incarceration, and they've been denied so many access to even civil and civic life. Recently, Mira Wise was even barred from giving khutbah on Friday. So they have they're facing the brutality, oppression, inhuman acts, and they deployed 900,000 troops. They deployed just to oppress Kashmiris. For how long they still need to be carried? So obviously, both sides, we don't say that they have ideal situation, but they are struggling. They are trying to come up with that. But there are deep ideological thinking that Kashmir cannot be the part of India, and Kashmiri need to be given opportunity for self-determination. They must decide what they want to do it, and we believe we believe they are Pakistanis. They live with Pakistan, and if they can live with as a neighbor, we still accept it. In a common masses even think and wish them also same way.
Yeah.
But with the Kashmiri sides, you look into their own leadership statements in the news, you will know there is a lot of torture, extrajudicial killing, and so many things happening on a daily basis. So it's very condemnable, and we urge the all political and social activists, when they speak about women, children, and human rights in any other part of the world, even for Palestine, they must speak also for Kashmiris. They even crying. You don't hear their voices, their cries, but you need to reach out. You need to build momentum, a pressure on Indian government, try to boycott your trip if it is not necessary, and try to boycott some business with them, and because it's all goes in the by a bulletin used against Kashmiris, so they need to come up. And 27 is a Black Day when they were invaded, just 2 months after the partition and independent. And if every society people don't come out and speak, then when you speak on particular country or a nation or tribe, what happened there? That people don't take you serious because you are very selective. But if there is tortures, there is criminality, if there is injustice in a society, you need to speak. You need to speak loud and speak for everybody, regardless of their culture, religion, and color.
Has there been any response or mediation attempt from international organizations like the United Nations?
The United Nations Security Council is absolutely silent on this.
Silent.
Completely silent. And actually, they are the reason. But you saw recently in Middle East conflict, these agencies or councils is all, they does not have the mandate or the power to implement their decision or their, where they implemented something on Israel. What happened to all these resolution? What all these pressures? So we sometimes we think we must not even think if they have anything better plan or they don't have. It is a club for a few elite, and this is all. So they playing no role apart from sometime issuing some statement if there is skirmishes on the border from either side.
How are both governments in Islamabad and New Delhi framing the situation politically?
We, politically from Indian side and even from Pakistan side, we believe that nobody need instability in that region. But there are groups, there are militias, there are some idea. Every war create an ideology. Sometime you will see West wanted to support Mujahideen. Sometime you will see the West come and they say the Mujahideen is the biggest threat to the world security. So people to people, we don't have problem. We don't have issues. We all welcome. We even meet and sit and do business together here also. But obviously these are between the governments, and they are reluctant to sit on a table for peace. And even when they're not in the government, they realize that what needs to be done. So we nobody wished to go for a war. Nobody we wanted to have a grand and good relation as a neighbor with every neighbor country. So they are in contact diplomatically, but sometimes political people, they do not establish their contact and they don't go openly, because of scareness that they might lose political points, to go. And obviously, sometimes it's very difficult to do something right thing in a society where people will judge you from many things and for many reasons.
Yeah. Going to material and civil impact, how are ordinary people, families, students, and workers being affected by these tensions on both sides of the line control?
No, line of control is most of the time remains peaceful. It's now and there they small in these skirmishes breaking out between the two forces, but they got used to it.
Yeah.
And it is an unfortunate part, and many countries that are involved in war with each other, you see their borders people to face all these problem and hardship. So we see a lot of innocent and precious lives we lose on either side. for a firing. I don't know why all this happening, but it's so systematic and unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we feel sorry the same for any side that lose a civilian life, innocent life.
This is News in Focus with Sumaya Khan stepping in for Brother Yunus Sakur. We'll be taking a short ad break and we will continue.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Craving for an easy, spicy and delicious meal made in minutes? Introducing Easy Mee Goreng, Korean-style instant noodles from Noodle King. This delicious, flavorful noodles is ready in minutes with a kick in every bite. Get your pack of Easy Mee Goreng at a retail store near you. Noodle King also boasts a whole variety of other delicious pantry must-haves. Look out for our brands at your favorite retail stores. Get ready to elevate your fitness game at First Fitness in Durban's Berea. With a spacious free weight area, award-winning equipment, and exclusive ladies-only parking and training level, we've got everything you need to crush your goals. Hit the ground running on our outdoor track or unleash your inner warrior in our MMA and boxing dungeon. Plus, enjoy high security and ample parking. And don't forget to refuel at our halal coffee and health restaurant for the best in coffees, smoothies, and healthy eats. Join us today and redefine your fitness journey. First Fitness, dare to be extraordinary.
This segment is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Kenfield Auto.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم.
Car won't start.
Kenfield Auto.
Noisy brakes.
Kenfield Auto.
Due for a service.
Kenfield Auto. Kenfield Auto, the answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop to handle them all. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call us on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto.
Ladies, are you concerned about your health and well-being? Then the Al Ansar Cancer Support Group's annual Cancer Awareness and Chai Day is for you. Dynamic speakers, an awesome tea garden, lucky draws, free blood pressure and sugar checks, free entry. Join us on Saturday the 25th of October at the Al Ansar Hall, 189 West Road, Overport, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let's unite to fight cancer's might.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
रबीउल नूर का महीना गया रबीउल नूर का महीना गया नबी की महफिलें तो हम सजाएंगे रबीउल नूर का महीना गया रबीउल नूर का महीना रबी की महफिलें तो हम सजाएंगे ये दुनिया जो कहे नहीं परवाह कोई ये दुनिया जो कहे नहीं परवाह कोई जश्न नबी का हम सदा मनाएंगे महीना गया रबीउल नूर का महीना गया रबी की महफिलें तो हम सजाएंगे है विलादत शहे अंबिया की उस नबी मुस्तफा की जिसके दम से है रौनक जहां की उस हबीबे खुदा की समाये चार सौ उन्हीं की गुफ्तगू समाये चार सौ उन्हीं की गुफ्तगू उन्हीं के जिक्र से ये दिन मनाएंगे महीना आ गया
Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to Sumaya Khan on 90.4 FM in Durban and 105.6 FM in Pietermaritzburg. This is News in Focus, sitting in for Brother Yunus Sakur. Our topics this evening: Pakistan's current situation, latest development in Gaza. Our guest in studio is Brother FAYYAZ Khan, Head of Political Affairs, Pakistan-South Africa Association. Later on, around 9:15, we'll be linking up with Sister Yvonne Ridley, international journalist, Freedom for Tila returnee, and also Brother HASSAN MOTALA, our economist, who will be coming into studio. Assalamu alaikum, Brother FAYYAZ. Thank you for joining us. I feel like I am in a Pakistani studio. Brother Asif, we feel we are in a Pakistani studio. Yes, you are the head of political affairs, Pakistan South Africa Association. Going back to the discussion we were having, what role can youth and civil society play in promoting peace and dialogue in Kashmir and Pakistan?
Dialogue not between Kashmir and Pakistan, between India and Pakistan?
India and Pakistan?
Because Kashmir are not independently allowed to conduct their activities. They are in jail, they are under house arrest. So they do not have access to engage. They are not allowed to have their foreign policy to depend on Pakistan and India. So when there is when you talk about dialogue or contact, it will be between both countries. So they are playing, civil societies are playing, but politically sometime when they instigate unnecessary like Pahalgam attack, and then that cause it create a huge gap between the civil societies, even business people in all aspect. It create a lot of difficulties. But there is the wish remains from both sides, from civil societies and from the common people, to be a good friend and to be a good neighbors. But all this cannot be achieved and it cannot be done unless the Kashmir issue is resolved, unless Kashmiris are given the promise mandate to decide where they want to live, independent or with any other respected countries. Unless that, it will be a dream to achieve anything in South Asia.
So the current situation we're discussing. So how are the people of Kashmir themselves responding? What are their main demands or voices today?
All Kashmiris wanted to, there is a promise that is a recognized promise, international promise and well-known promise, that they will be given an opportunity to decide their fate. Now, some Kashmiris are in Pakistan side, some Kashmiris are here, and some are in Ladakh, and some are in that part of with the China. Now, they cannot decide anything, but they're struggling. And with their legitimate framework and mandate, they are struggling politically. And even if you do not listen to them politically and you do not respect their mandate, then they took the weapons and they went to hide out and they start fighting as a guerrilla, and which every body has the right. If somebody come and they occupied your land, obviously you are fighting to free it, and they're trying to free it. India need to realize that Kashmir issue is a very serious and it's a fundamental issue. And it also keeping us away from progress, prosperity, or in a peaceful society. Kashmiri really need attention. Kashmir really need attention, and the world bodies also need to listen to them, because it is it is like a mistrust. They created mistrust among the world that no resolution will work and they does not have any power to implement it. So we have wishes for the business, we have wish socially, culturally, we have so much similarity, and we are so much same people. And any individual does not even wish and want it that we must have a sour relation with our neighbors, a good neighbor, big neighbor. But the RSS and BJP, that agenda, that Hindutva agenda, that is not bringing South Asian societies together. And this, look at, with Pakistan, we have a conventional war with them, and we had we are opponent for so many things, and we are at the race. Look at to Maldives, look at to Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, even Bangladesh. None of them have a good grand relation with India. And it is all because of this Hindutva and BJP agenda. So it is not, if we people, they're not against India, but it's against this policy, either side. So this issue need to be resolved. Unless all dialogue is just will be a dialogue, and both sides, even the people, know that this is the issue, fundamental issue, that is stopping us to progress, and that is causing a lot of mayhem and unnecessary stress in our society.
Since you're touching on that, when you're looking at human rights and media coverage around the world, how do you see the role of international media shaping global awareness about the Kashmir issue? They're a bit quiet, I think.
They're completely biased. Where they have time to even focus on Kashmir. And even now in playing field, sports field, everything got so politicized. So where they will have time to go and see and then show the world a true picture of Kashmir? They won't do it. They are very biased.
So then you ask yourself, why do you think the global community, especially Western powers, remain largely silent or neutral on Kashmir?
That is their establishment and these are their policies, and they caused it. They could have done it. They could have resolved it. They caused it, and there are so many facts behind that, why they have done it, and what Soviet Union were involved when they were closing into Afghanistan, and all this. So it will be a long discussion. It's needed every time.
Another show. Since we're talking now, we'll go towards international and regional dynamics. How has China's role and its border disputes with India affected the Kashmir question?
That's also not Kashmir question. Still, it won't affect anything about Kashmir. China is looking for its own supremacy. And they are advancing so much in technology, and it's a big power. So China won't allow India to hold a position or possess a strategic position in that part of the India, in Ladakh, in further in that areas. So what they're doing is they wanted to maintain their own superiority over water, over different locations. So it will also remain disputed, but they still use so much diplomacy and calmness from China side, and they're holding it, and they're building a lot of infrastructure, military infrastructure in some other important bases over there. So we won't have that all authentic and investigated news about it.
Yeah.
But China is holding it in. Okay, my personal view is I'm not very pleased that even if they hold a piece of Indian land also, because dispute will remain a dispute. In
And looking at the USA and UK, United Kingdom, what influence do you think global politics such as USA or UK relations with India and Pakistan have on the possibility of peace in Kashmir? They don't care?
They don't even talk. They don't even mention. Sometime when they have meeting, and when you mention, many people come out and they just put a reservation that Kashmir or some issues must not come out on a media statement. They do not want it, and they know each other because they are friends and they have very mutual understanding, and they have their own benefit on thing that what to say something and on what to keep silent. So they won't say it. In America, Donald Trump time, we expected something. He is so unpredicted. So anything can happen if you come close to India and speak seriously. There are signs that Europe and America wanted the entire Kashmir to be an independent Kashmir controlled by international forces and to create a completely new tourist destination and boost or enhance the economy of the Kashmir. There are speculation and talking going on it, but it won't, because a lot of people lost their lives, precious lives for the Kashmiri cause in this struggle. They won't let it happen, and they won't let it go, because there are still people in true form fighting, and a true form they won't keep silent until the complete emancipation of Kashmir.
We mentioned peace, we spoke about the dialogue and the way forward. Do you believe that bilateral talks between India and Pakistan are still possible, or is it necessary?
Oh yes, it's always possible. Even we are in talking today.
Yeah.
We have a hotline contact, and we have a diplomatic contact. Obviously, Pakistan have never a policy of to attack on any country.
Yeah.
And Pakistan never did that, and we don't have wish, we don't have that desire or hunger to go and do anything against India. Pakistan always had acted in its own defense. Always Pakistan, and then it even showed that defense shows it was such a powerful and meaningful. Then people thought it's attack against India from Pakistan. It was never been attacked. Attack was made by India. And Pakistan had officially impartial international inquiry by international board committee. Mr. Modi reject that. So Pakistan says we are strategically, and Pakistan says it clearly that we're not involved, and we don't plan. We are the victim of terrorism. So we are in talking term. They know exactly, but sometimes they have to keep alive their political momentum, to use religious and some geographical term to remain in a power. This is what they want.
Still on the discussion of peace and dialogue and looking at ways forward, what role can civil society, journalists, and ordinary citizens play in promoting peace and understanding?
They can just bring a beautiful and positive story. If I say something good about India, it must be given to an Indian, and if there is any good news coming from other side, they must come. And there is so much negativity, it's coming out. We should not show that to the other side, and they must write a historical connection between both countries. They must write what is the potential for a business. They must write that what together we can achieve. They can just write what similar thing that we each one feel we in need, and we can acquire that if we fight. together, and the only time that we will live together and with peace and with prosperity, we must have a mutual understanding. We have a flexible borders, and we are the same people, we must say, but it's a political now instigated and planned disputes that need to be resolved. And once it, we need to speak and we need to share. It's not a religious conflict. It's not about Muslims and Hindu. It's never been between Indian and Hindu and Muslims. They're making it to use and bring up people and brainwash them. So all we wanted it to live together. Obviously, we all have wish for entire universe to remain in peace, and it is difficult. It is challenging, but there is a will. There is a will that we must have a peace between us. But you all can play a good and pivotal role. But Kashmir issue will come again, and there is an unwavering support from across Pakistan.
Inshallah.
If it does not resolve, it's very difficult to succeed, to be completely friendly and a good friend, a neighborhood with India.
You are listening to News in Focus with Sumaya Khan. We will be breaking for news break.
365.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News. Making news, this are 22nd of October. The news from Durban 90.4 FM, Pietermaritzburg 105.6 FM. Public Health in Africa Conference kicks off in Durban, America Monina. Health leaders from across the continent are meeting in Durban this week to help strengthen Africa's health security. Deputy Health Minister Joe Patler delivers the keynote address at the Durban ICC today. The Health Department spokesperson Foster Moale says the discussions during the 4-day conference will focus on improving pandemic readiness and advancing universal health care coverage. In more news, SANRAL, the South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL CEO Reginald Damana says a nationwide tap-and-go system is being rolled out to make toll payment faster and more secure. Local media says the toll gates have become hotspots for card fraud as criminals use skimmers to steal card information. The fraudsters often siphon small amounts from accounts that go unnoticed until they add up to a larger sum. That's according to SANRAL. SANRAL CEO Damana and the Department of Transport officially launched the completed upgrade of the N3 at the Ashburton interchange today. He says while cards will still be accepted as a backup, he's hoping the new system or payment system will help reduce the number of fraudulent transactions. Mornings, Police Minister Senzem Unu, for the 4th day, appears before the Parliament Ad Hoc Committee investigating claims that he and other top officials in the police service have links to criminal syndicates. Yesterday, Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee pressured Mkhunu for clarity on the dissolution of the political task team. However, earlier today, Ad Hoc Committee member Ian Cameron asked the suspended minister a yes or no question on various issues.
Questions. The first one, yes or no? Your affidavit explicitly states that the president agreed to close the PKTT.
Yes, it says so.
Yes or no? You issued the immediate disbandment letter without an approved transition plan.
Well, you will excuse me, I can't use yes or no there, but I will say yes, there was a directive, but it pointed at a preliminary report because I couldn't go to somebody and say, give me a transitional plan before I did that.
Yes or no, Minister, you met or communicated with Brown Mokhotsi or Kat Matlala in the 14 days surrounding the 31st of December?
I definitely didn't communicate with Matlala. Mkhotsi on the 31st. I haven't seen that.
Thank you, Minister. Yes or no, you will submit your devices or you will be willing to submit your devices for independent forensic review?
I would be more than willing to do so.
One news, a disturbing video has surfaced showing a 16-year-old Cape Town pupil being brutally assaulted at a high school. The viral footage has sparked outrage and calls for accountability. The school governing body approved a precautionary suspension of 8 pupils, and formal hearings are expected to follow. Police have opened an assault case, and the Western Cape government, or the Western Cape Education Department, is now investigating. A parent is wading in.
I was absolutely shocked, and I felt deep fear for the safety of my own son. We just want transparency from the school. We want accountability from the boys who bullied. And we want safety for our children. We want to feel that when our children come to school, that they are safe. So I definitely feel very strongly that needs to be accountability, and the boys need to be punished in some way. So I was very, very shocked and disappointed that the boys were still in school. I think it happened last week. But I do understand that there are certain protocols and processes that the school needs to abide by with the department. So I understand that point of view. However, the boys should have been removed right from the onset.
And finally, international story. Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, says Iran will not return to negotiations with the United States so long as Washington continues its policy of excessive demands. The foreign minister says that the previous talks collapsed precisely due to Washington's overreach. Araghchi says that the two sides could have reached a reasonable, mutually beneficial solution during the recent annual UN General Assembly meeting in New York, but that opportunity was also lost due to similar reasons. Araghchi says that Iran has consistently demonstrated its commitment to peace and diplomacy, even while facing an adversary unwilling to honor such principles. He says Iran recently exchanged messages and contacts with U.S. negotiator Steve Witkoff through intermediaries, but he made it clear that Iran will not re-enter talks unless the U.S. fundamentally changes its approach. The weather, 24 degrees. A quick reminder of our top story. Health leaders from across the continent meet in Durban ICC today from this week to help strengthen Africa's health security. The International Conference on Public Health is being jointly hosted by government and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the news.
Radio Al-Ansar, keeping you in the loop.
One child, one dream.
A journey with Africa Muslims Agency that began 3 years ago has changed the lives of Syrian and Palestinian refugee children beyond their dreams. Help them to continue their education by sponsoring a student at the Amman School of Excellence in Lebanon for 25,200 Rand per year. Education at Amman can provide a brighter future for refugee families.
AMA, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Welcome to the Village Co Cafe and Bistro, where flavors dance and every gathering feels like magic. Halal certified and run by 3 sisters, we serve breakfast all day, from bagels and sourdough open sandwiches to burgers, wraps, toasties, tacos, nachos, and our signature coffee blend, crafted just for our cafe. Host your next event with us, all in a space that feels as good as it tastes. Find us at the Westville Village Market, 123 Jan Hofmeyer Road, lower ground level. Call us on 079 670 4093. The Village Co, where every bite feels like home. Durban Halal Meats, the butcher with a twist. Whether you're firing up the braai or stocking up for your business, we've got you covered. From premium lamb, beef, and chicken to custom cuts and bulk orders, all 100% halal, certified by Sanha. Enjoy our convenient buy and braai service, fast delivery, and easy online ordering at durbanhalalmeats.co.za. Visit us at 84 Felix Dlamini Road. Durban Halal Meats. Quality, affordability, trust. Meat made better.
It's the massive clearance sale at Balwas Furniture, Pietermaritzburg. Sale starts 23rd October. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. Get the luxurious Signorini pillow top king bed for only $2,999. Only 20 available. The first 100 customers can upgrade their room with a double to queen upholstered headboard and 2 matching pedestals. Just $499. While stocks last, T's and C's apply. Balwas Furniture, Pietermaritzburg, 439 Victoria Road. Balwas, where shopping is fun and you are number one.
Elevate your style with Alnur kurtas and fragrances from Potent Eyes Perfumes, exclusively available at Alansar Shop. Visit us at 207 West Road or call 031-208-1601. Experience the best in fashion and perfumery. Alansar Shop where elegance meets fragrance.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
Listen to News in Focus on Radio Al Ansar, Durban 90.4 and Petermarisburg 105.6 FM every Wednesday from 8 p.m. with Yunus Sakur. That's 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Radio Al Ansar, keeping you informed.
घर लौटाना जान देना कोई तुझसे सीख जा जाने आलम हो फिदा कर लिया नोश जिसने शहादत का जाम कर लिया नोश जिसने शहादत का जाम उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम पर सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम सलाम अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन जिसको धोखे से कूफे बुलाया गया और बुला करके नाहक सताया गया जिसको धोखे से कूफे बुलाया गया और बुला करके नाहक सताया गया जिसके बच्चों को प्यासा रुलाया गया जिसके बच्चों को प्यासा रुलाया गया जिसकी गर्दन पे खंजर चलाया गया उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम हुसैन पर सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम मेरे हुसैन तुझे सलाम मेरे हुसैन तुझे सलाम अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन इसका झूला फरिश्ते झुलाते रहे लोरियां दे के नूरी सुनाते रहे जिसका झूला फरिश्ते झुलाते रहे लोरियां दे के नूरी सुनाते रहे जिसको कांधों पे आका बिठाते रहे जिसको कांधों पे आका बिठाते रहे उस पे साफाक खंजर चलाते रहे उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम हुसैन हुसैन पर सलाम हुसैन हुसैन सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम पर सलाम सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन जिसका नाना दो आलम का मुख्तार है जो जवाना ने जन्नत का सरदार है जिसका नाना दो आलम का मुख्तार है जो जवाना ने जन्नत का सरदार है जो सरापाए महबूब वफार है जो सरापाए महबूब वफार है उसका सर दश्त में शेर तलवार है उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम हुसैन पर सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम मेरे हुसैन तुझे सलाम मेरे हुसैन तुझे सलाम सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन जिसको दोषे नबी पर बिठाया गया जिसका जन्नत से जोड़ा मंगाया गया जिसको दोषे नबी पर बिठाया गया जिसका जन्नत से जोड़ा मंगाया गया जिसके बेटे को कैदी बनाया गया जिसके बेटे को कैदी बनाया गया जिसको तीरों से छलनी कराया गया उस हुसैन इब्न हैदर पे लाखों सलाम हुसैन हुसैन सलाम कहो हुसैन पर सलाम सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन अस्सलाम या हुसैन जिसने हक़ करबला में अदा कर दिया अपने नाना का वादा वफा कर दिया जिसने हक़ करबला में अदा कर दिया अपने नाना का वादा वफा कर दिया सब कुछ उम्मत की खातिर फिदा कर दिया सब कुछ उम्मत की खातिर
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back in News in Focus. This is Sumaya Khan sitting in for Brother Yunus Sakur. Yes, we were discussing Pakistan's current situation with Brother FAYYAZ Khan, Head of Political Affairs, Pakistan South Africa Association. We were talking about the current situation in Kashmir and Pakistan. And in studio, we also have Brother Hassan MOTALA. He's going to be joining us not only for the market update, inshallah. Brother FAYYAZ, let's go now to a little bit for our new listeners who are listening to us. A little bit background history of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And then from there, we'll take it to the current situation with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan.
Everybody know about Pakistan history. That when there was a situation like today, how BGB created, there were elements in the government who caused all that rift, that Muslim majority need to be independent and they feel better, they feel safer, and they feel prosper to be out of that line. So their hypocrisy caused that. And then the nation, the Muslim, thought that we must have an independent state where a Muslim rule, where Muslim values remain in position. And Pakistan gained their independence in 1947. So we had a hell of a lot of problem from the beginning, and we had leadership issues. Then there were war taking place, Kashmir, first war, then 65 war, then 71 war. And Pakistan stays for very long in wars with the neighbor over Kashmir. And but Pakistan, normally when we gain independence, the country was running very well. Through autocrats, bureaucrats, and we had long military rulers also. But Pakistan will remain as an industrial and agricultural country, and we had a lot of issue in a governance, and there are agitations, a struggle that are continue to make it right. This is all information people must know about Pakistan, that day to day what is happening there. But all I can say is Pakistan, it's prosper. We have it is a very developed country. We have beautiful sightseeing. We have good weathers. We have a large farm of agriculture. We have dairy farms. We have fisheries. We have lots of mineral earths, rare mineral earths, and Pakistan is an industrial country. But then we ended up with the issue of Afghanistan jihad against Soviet Union, where we got stuck. That was the point that where nation took a very wrong decision to jump into someone else's fight. They call it an Islamic fight against Soviet Union, and Pakistan owned it, and they supported Afghans. And with that fight, when we went, we created a lot of warriors, faction, battalion, mercenaries, and up till now that our stability is at stake because of all that elements. Recently, maybe you find out how this war is broke out between Afghanistan and Pakistan. It was the same reason. So after we jump into someone else's war, we could not come right, but there are miracles that happening in Pakistan life, so we survive.
Inshallah, we'll definitely continue that. There right now, we managed to get Sister Yvonne Ridley, international journalist and Freedom Flotilla returnee, human rights advocate, and of the people who's experienced conflict zone firsthand, including her work on Palestine, Gaza, and her activism with the Freedom Flotilla convoy and similar humanitarian effects. Welcome to News in Focus. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Is this Sister Yvonne Ridley?
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Okay. We know it's been a tiring, long journey for you with all the media houses wanting to know what happened. Once again, we are really grateful that you joining us here on Radio Al-Ansar on News in Focus, especially during this time of the evening. Yvonne, you reported from many conflict zones, but Gaza seems to hold a special place in your heart. What first allowed you to, for the Palestinian cause?
Well, I was 13 when I first began to take an interest in Palestinian matters. And it's been a long...
Okay, I think we
twice, and the people there just won my heart. They're absolutely fabulous. You know, they're observant Muslims. They really humbling scenes as parents grapple with the fact that their loved ones have been killed.
Okay, I think we are having some network problem. We're linking up with Sister Yvonne Ridley. Can you hear us? We are actually breaking off with you. Hello?
Hello, we seem to have a bad connection.
Yes, we seem to have a bad connection. Okay, a quick one. Can you tell us your experience of everything?
Well, the first thing that people asked me when I returned from the flotilla, after being arrested and, kidnapped and held hostage in an Israeli prison, was how did it compare with the Afghan experience? And I have to say, I would rather spend 2 more months with the Taliban than 2 hours with the Israelis. They were absolute savages. They were brutes. They assaulted us, they stripped us, they humiliated us, they did everything in their power to dehumanize us. And, you know, their actions were not the actions of a normal human being. I would say that the entire nation, judging from what I saw in Kiziot prison, if they're typical of Israelis, they're all damaged, flawed and faulted human beings.
What were your first impressions when you arrived in Gaza, or when you witnessed the situation firsthand?
Well, I didn't get to Gaza this time, but I did get to Gaza in 2008, 2009, when we broke the siege in the fishing port. And I have to say, our boat was the first boat to get into that port in 41 years. So the siege hasn't been going on since 2005, 2006, as some people believe. It's been going on for decades. But the first impression that I got when I entered Gaza is, you know, the beachfront is beautiful. The people are the real jewel in the crown. They make Gaza. They have a special affinity with the land, and they've shown that time and time again by refusing to leave the land. And, you know, by comparison, as soon as missiles started penetrating Israel, there was a mass exodus, and they had to close down the Ben Gurion airport to stop so many people leaving. But then they left by boat and rocked up at Cyprus, and which to me shows that the Israelis don't have the same affinity with the land. They couldn't wait to leave. And of course, you know, most of them are Ashkenazi Jews who are white Europeans who have no real ties to the land of Gaza or Palestine.
You were part of the Freedom Flotilla group and one of the returnees from that mission. Can you describe what that journey was about and what, motivated it?
All we wanted to do was to open up a humanitarian corridor from the Mediterranean Sea into Gaza, because people are being starved to death. and the crisis is still unfolding today, even though the guns have fallen silent. We don't know how long for, but the people of Gaza have been starved, they've been bombed, some of them have been buried alive. The most heinous war crimes have been carried out on them. Fresh graves have been redug up and bodies have gone missing. And, about 1,200 bodies went missing from one cemetery. And you have to wonder, what on earth are the Israelis doing with the corpses? And at the moment, tensions are heightened because of the hostage return. Well, of course, we know that the hostages that are being returned now are all dead. But I can tell you that the condition that they are being delivered to in Israel is done with the greatest respect and very mindful of the surviving relatives. But the hostages that have been, the bodies that have been returned to Palestinian families have been burned, have tire tracks on them. One body of a young man was returned and he was bound and gagged, and a rope was still attached to his neck. And that sort of inhumanity has become the trademark of Israelis. They are just devoid of humanity. And this is something that I saw firsthand in the prison where I was held, that the treatment meted out to us was inhumane.
Yeah. As someone who has seen conflict zone around the world, how would you describe the atmosphere and the human spirit in Gaza compared to other regions or parts of the world you covered? You mentioned about Afghanistan, but what which memory will still be in you forever, Binya?
They didn't surrender. They some people would argue, that they've had a victory of sorts, although they've paid a horrific price. Held out. They kept on rising and they kept on resisting, and they would not be defeated.
Okay. Sister Yvonne Ridley, thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing your experience, your emotion, and letting us know what really went down. And without you doing this, we wouldn't know the heartfelt feelings and emotions. Thank you once again for linking up with us in News in Focus.
Okay, thank you.
That was Yvonne Ridley, international journalist, Freedom Flotilla returnee, human rights advocate, and of the people who experience conflict zone firsthand, including her work on Palestine, Gaza, and her activism with the Freedom Flotilla convoy and similar humanitarian effects. And a heartfelt thank you once again to her, and sharing her what she experienced telephonically. Yes. I'm Sumaya Khan. You are joined with me in News in Focus. In studio, we have Brother FAYYAZ Khan and Hassan Mutala. Brother FAYYAZ, going back to Pakistan, you were telling us a bit of history of Pakistan. When we're looking at Pakistan and the relationship with Saudi Arabia, the new development, that's quite current in the news, the relationship with Saudi Arabia.
You must be talking about the accord that was recently signed by the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince. In fact, when you see this accord is not a new accord. It is after 1967 war, Arab-Israeli war. In 1969, this accord is implemented or signed, and from then, Pakistan Armed Forces in Air Force is stationed in Saudi Arabia. So this is an old accord in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia had a brotherly, very deep-rooted religious, cultural, and relation. So after this accord, what is more important is for common Pakistani is that we are so blessed. We are so blessed and we are so rewarded by Allah that Haramain protection has been permitted, or the responsibilities granted to Pakistan Armed Forces. And if there is any case like in any unlikely event or mischievous act or any false flag operation by Israelis on Saudi Arabian soil, particularly on Haramain, Medina and Mecca, Pakistani armed forces will alongside with Saudi Arabia will retaliate and will protect Haramain at any cost. And we feel this is a pride for us and a pride for the armed forces of Pakistan.
Gee, going to Pakistan and Afghanistan issues and their relationships, our guest who I was interviewing, Sister Yvonne Ridley, a journalist, she said, a journalist who's been around the world, she said even the Taliban were good to her and to others when she was comparing. So what is the relationship currently with Pakistan and Afghanistan, especially when it's concerning their relationship currently?
It is complicated. I will give you my own opinion also. See, you are someone, a hero can be a traitor and a rebel for you. And somebody's rebel can be your ideal and your leader. So there is always issue. And when you look at Taliban are very civilized people and they maintain peace in Afghanistan. We do have issues with women education with them. This is what we don't want them to stop women or children from education. Other than that, they are civilized. But when you see them in a combat, while they are on a mountain, they look different. But when they have administrative power or political power, you see them different. They are civilized. They are well trained. They skilled. They know Quran. They know Islam. And for them, the ideal is Hazrat Umar time of the governance. So this all is they choose the model. What is the problem is now with the India, Pakistan and Afghanistan, that we also had element that rise after Musharraf allow American to use Pakistani soil and take out Taliban from power. So this is very deep thing and nobody will know it. Now what happened when they were fighting against American and NATO? What happened? These Taliban from Pakistan side also accompanied them and they were fighting with them in Afghanistan. After they took over Afghanistan, Taliban, when they retook over, many Taliban, they fought with them for 2 decades. They cannot tell them to not do what they wanted to do it. And Pakistan had reservation that indeed there are attacks across the border, and they killed many of our civilian and even our armed forces officers. Every day there were attacks, but these attacks were taking place from Afghanistan, and Pakistan had evidence that Afghanistan harbors these terrorists. We do not have any issue with Afghanistan, with the Afghanistan people, or with the Afghanistan government. These are Pakistan side Taliban. They are sheltered and they have the camp. They are training camps and they are orchestrating target in Pakistan from that soil. This is what Pakistan want them. It must not happen. It must not come between us. And let be a good neighbor and a good brother live together. The problem is now, these Taliban, they come and they attack Pakistan territories on different places and a different installation and on different strategic places. Now, Pakistan have evidence and proof that they're asking Taliban that these elements must be stopped from attacking our soil.
Yeah. Well, a message has come through. Salam, Sister Sumaya. A kind, interesting discussion with your guest, Mr. Khan, on Kashmir. In 2019, when India revoked Article 370 unilaterally with the intention to bring Kashmiri territories under India's control and consider them as being part of India. The Indian National Secretary also signed this document, so the BJP has since considered whatever issues that needed to be ironed out was made final, except for the areas under Pakistan's control. I think our guest is correct. It's all about ideology on the part the BJP, whether it's right-wing RSS connections. Frank, Modi tried to use Kashmir's economy as an excuse to achieve the main agenda of the BJP. But India's elite were buying land there, occupying it illegally. This comes from Brother Frank.
Frank knows that actually what happened. Their hunger never stopped.
Yeah.
Uncontrollable hunger of power by Modi and RSS. And this is what happened then. They still had a obligation. They could not perform a few things, but they went on and revoked the special status of Kashmir. Now look at that, is the shame, a slap on international bodies or UN face. Security Council. If you cannot implement such a thing, why you even adopting it and why you owning it? They let them down. Now Modi is so thirsty, and he even revoked that status, which is challenged and will be reinstated. But my thinking is not that what Modi revoke or not. In Kashmir was under the occupation of India from 27th of October 1947. So they do not have their fundamental right, a human right. They are under, 1 million paramilitary forces are deployed only in Kashmir by India. So even if they revoke or if they doesn't revoke, what he wanted to make that, and he want to digest that, and Kashmiri and peace-loving people, even Pakistan is the main stakeholder, and they owning this conflict. They are a major party in that conflict. We won't let that to happen, inshallah.
Yeah. Brother Hassan, I see you agreeing.
No, so there's a couple of things I just want to, not necessarily regarding just Pakistan. And if we look at what's happened in terms of the genocide in Palestine, the bombings, whatever's been happening in terms of whether it's India and Pakistan, or we've had with the Israelis, and like over the last decade or so, we have seen globally a major shift in terms of right-wing fanaticism and fascist ideologies that have been permeating across most of the Western countries across the globe. What that's increasingly meaning is that we are seeing a lot more anti-Muslims or Islamophobe taking place, and those ideologies are resonating between people who you never thought before. So before you wouldn't have thought an Israeli and a Hindutva would be aligned. Today they are standing side by side with each other. Secondly, you wouldn't have thought before a Jewish extremist and a right-wing extremist like Tommy Robinson and the like would stand by side. Today we've seen Tommy Robinson visiting Israel and standing side by side with, previously they were known as they used to be anti-Semites, but here they're standing together in their ideology because they, in their view, have one common enemy, and that is the Muslims. Now, we have learned some lessons. I think, I hope our rulers and especially many of the leaders in the Muslim countries have learned some lessons that have taken place over especially the last 2 years. The one is, firstly, we cannot solely rely on major Western superpowers to defend us.
Yeah.
And Qatar learned it very recently, where they thought they've got an American airbase and the like, and they will never be bombed by an ally of the US. Didn't matter. Can happen. And other Muslim countries also need to realize that. Secondly, we cannot rely on many of the other superpowers, whether it's China or even the Russians. The Russians have got their own challenges. China is obviously now one of the other major superpowers, and you are seeing slowly many of the other countries are now moving towards China as being a big brother, taking into account how the US has strongly aligned itself with Israel, and Israel comes first before anybody else. And that's an important way. But what this means is that we as Muslim countries and the Islamic countries and the like need to ensure that they have their own armies, their own armed forces, and the necessary weapons to defend themselves, and have agreements and pacts between themselves, like what Pakistan and Saudi and the like. But similarly, there should be more. Turkey and Turkey has got also what Pakistan and Turkey have two of the largest armies in the world. If you look at the top 10 armies in the world, Pakistan and Turkey are in the top 10. In fact, Turkey is second in NATO, if I'm not mistaken, and Pakistan is probably the 7th largest army in the world. So you got two that should not be put to waste. So there should be a lot more coordination between the Muslim countries and leaders in terms of, firstly, coordination in terms of safety and security. Secondly, this wars and the like has shown us again, we fall short in terms of technology and in terms of armaments. Who are the major developers of weapons in the world today? The Americans, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Israelis. A small country that's sitting in the Middle East is developing more advanced weapons than all the other Muslim countries that are sitting around it. Because we have not placed emphasis and invested in our people and investment into areas which will help us. I hand one thing to Pakistan. They're the only Muslim power to have nuclear power. And guess what? That keeps them in good stead, because Israel will think twice before they want to invade and do what they're doing to other Muslim countries. Look how many countries Israel has bombed and attacked in the last 2 years. Besides Palestine, which they're doing it on a daily basis, Iran. They attacked Lebanon. They attacked, Syria, Yemen. They've just kept, and at freedom, because they knew the retaliation is not there, or the retaliation is more via rebel forces and the like. But if they had to do that with Pakistan, there's a risk. There's a risk, and India learned the hard way. But they also thought they could flex their power, but they were kept in check. And it's important that Muslim countries develop their own technology, their own armaments, to ensure that we're not reliant on the other countries. And that, unfortunately, could take time before it happens. Look, I think slowly it's happening. Pakistan has a small industry in that, and they're building on it. Turkey is doing the same thing as well. But
Iran in missiles.
Iran has done it as well. Iran is slowly, and they may, inshallah, I think it will be, as a means of defense, it's important to have nuclear power. It is because you cannot trust the most unstable and most aggressive country in the Middle East is Israel. And the issue with that is they talk about everybody else being unstable around them and aggressive, but they're the ones that cause the most issues to countries all around them. And the problem is they've got the most warheads and nuclear power within the region itself. And that's an issue. The other issues that we need to come back to the point around education. And my brother here highlighted the point about also that the one issue that they have with the Taliban, and they is that education should be for everybody. Whether it's male and female, there should be a focus ensuring that there's education given to all our children and given to a level which we strive in terms of excellence. If you go back, so after the caliphs, and you look at the Ottoman empires and after that, there were many decades where we had an era of Muslim excellence. Whether it was in the medical field, it was in the sciences, technology and the like. Muslims were at the forefront of development and at the forefront of everything. because there was an emphasis and a focus on excellence and developing skills and technology through education. Not necessarily, Islamic education is first and foremost, but side by side, it's important to ensure that we develop in terms of the sciences, the technologies and the like, so that we can compete against everybody else in the world. It's very important to do that. Otherwise, we're going to be left behind and we're going to be reliant and subservient to those other people.
Exactly.
And we at the end of the day, we must be peaceful with everybody. But when somebody is not peaceful to you and they are aggressive to you, you have the right to defend yourself. And if you do not have the necessary armed forces and the necessary armaments to do it, then unfortunately we will be wiped out, and we will see what has been happening over Muslims. Unfortunately, we've many of the countries that have been under severe pressure and severe sort of oppression in many cases because of that. So, inshallah, we hope that it could take another few decades before, but you need to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And they need our leaders and the governments across the Muslim world need to place it, because so many large Muslim countries, whether it's Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, there's so many large Muslim countries that have the necessary capabilities and the abilities to ensure that there can be a level of protection provided for. So when, you know what they say in the Muslim Ummah, if somebody, your arm or something is hurt, everybody else must feel the pain. Similarly, it should be the case here. So I hope, inshallah, that at least one lesson we are learning, that, and you know, the courage that the Palestinians have shown is unbelievable. To have that type of, with the bare necessities that they have in terms of the armaments that have been provided, but the fact that they showed with that small amount of armaments, but the sort of the willpower and the belief in that Allah will help them, that they had the ability to actually resist and fight against one of the so-called, technologically advanced sort of armies within the region itself. And I think, if you have the will of the belief in Allah, and at the same time also the necessary armaments, then you can stand head and shoulders above everybody else. But it takes time, it takes belief, and it takes also investment into doing that. And we haven't, unfortunately, I think there is some slow progress in that, but there needs to be a lot more done, and less talk and more action needs to be done, so that we have a game plan for 10, 20, 30 years to get to a case where the Muslim world becomes a lot more self-sufficient, self-determined, and the ability to protect itself from other evil and external forces.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't have said it any better. Looking at Pakistan, Brother Fayyaz, world top 7 Air Force, military and Navy. Well, Pakistan has that.
The good part of Pakistan is we have our JF Thunder 17 fighter jets, right? And when America stopped and playing with us to give us F-16 spare parts, this is how they start thinking. The leadership start thinking that we must have our own. And today it is very advanced in it's known aircraft in aviation, fighter aviation industry. Look at our Khalid tank. Pakistan manufacture of its own. Our missile system. When we talk about our enemy, we don't have animosity with anybody, but Israel wanted to have it. So our Ghori missiles, our missiles range is beyond even Israelis. It can, and it's you cannot intercept that. So we do have a scientific research that obviously knowledge and research. This is how your nation will grow. So in Pakistan, in that matter, we are blessed that we have very stable armed forces. We have a very strong Air Force and Navy. and Navy. And we thinking that it's very important for us, especially against India, that we must be in a position. Otherwise, today your sovereignty gone, your territorial integrity gone. Then the next time with your culture, your values gone, your religion, everything is at stake. So long live Pakistan. Allah kare Pakistan hamesha zinda rahe. Thank you very much.
Brother Hassan, News in Focus cannot end if we do not have you with the updates on the economy and the markets.
I think, look, in terms of just to end off in terms of on the economic front, we've had some recent data and the like that's come out. Just a few things. Firstly, just in terms of on the inflationary side, we have seen some uptick in terms of inflation picking up. Obviously, meat prices has moved up a lot, particularly red meat. If you look at beef prices have gone up a hell of a lot over the last 3 to 4 months. And there's mainly been on the impact of the foot and mouth disease that we saw in the northern Natal area and in the HASSAN area. So that has impacted in terms of meat prices. But slowly also chicken prices have also started to move up as well. So inflation has picked up. I don't think we're expecting that the Reserve Bank will cut rates come their next meeting on the back of this as well. But nonetheless, I think it's still at a relatively reasonable level. The economy still seems to be moving okay. However, the impact of those tariffs in the US, that impact is still coming through. So we could still see some challenging months ahead on the back of the impact of those US tariffs on some of our exports, like the motor vehicle sector in particular on the Eastern Cape. I think that will impact. One important and interesting news that came out and it's happening currently is the issue around the KwaZulu-Natal investment conference. That's sort of I think it's taking place, or it's going to take place. So I think in fact it's taking place later this month here, actually. If I'm not mistaken, next week sometime or this week. So there in the last summit that we had, there was about 75 billion pledged in terms of developments and the like. 80% of that is already under construction. So that is fantastic in terms of KZN is now, in terms of within South Africa, is seeing an uptick in terms of the property investment boom. And it's across the board, particularly the North Coast. So if you drive up, whether it's from Belito up that way, there's a lot of development taking place up there. There's the Sumaya developments, residential, retail, but also there's the Club Med. It's about a 1.5-2 billion new resort that will be opening up in June, July next year. So there's a lot of development taking place, both in terms of residential, retail, but also commercial, like industrial warehousing and the like, that is taking place. And the expectations are that further opportunities are coming because, always when we talk about South Africa and the boom, Western Cape and Cape Town comes up as always being the favorite place. And Cape Town's done pretty well over the last, decade or so in terms of attracting a lot of the investment from a South African perspective. However, KZN is slowly waking up and we just need to get a few things right. Government gets the service delivery right. Get a few things, and next year's elections are important to ensure that we as voters getting the right people to try and implement and get these things sorted out. Secondly, we need to root out corruption. You see what's happening in the Madlanga Commission and the like, and there's so much of it, whether it's Tembisa Hospital or whether it's happening at Prasa, or there's so much. Unfortunately, it's entrenched. But we can root it out slowly, step by step. It can be rooted out. And we have to make the effort to slowly root out corruption, because more and more you root it out, more money is available to fix the roads, to build more hospitals, to service the people, whether it's for education or policing and the like. More money gets available for those critical and basic services that we require. And I think thirdly, and very importantly as well, there is an opportunity, especially for KZN, that we can grow certain sectors. Tourism is one of them. tourism, if you look at whether it's from the subcontinent, the amount that we can attract in terms of more visitors from India, Pakistan, China, and those places into our country and into our province, there's a huge opportunity to bring more and more of those visitors into our area. We've always focused on and tried to focus on the Western countries, whether it's the European countries or the Americans and the like. But I believe the subcontinent and the Asian countries are increasingly a bigger opportunity, not necessarily also just for tourism and bringing them, but also vice versa, more of us visiting those countries and more trade between those countries. When one door closes, other doors open. So if the tariffs are now being implemented by the Americans on us on 30% tariffs on many of our exports of agricultural exports, whether it's our citrus products, our stone fruit like the apricots, peaches and plums and those type of products, there are other doors. China has now signed a 5-year deal to supply our stone fruit into that country. We can do similar deals with other countries, be it China, be it India, Pakistan, even the Middle Eastern countries. There's so much. Saudi Arabia, UAE, they would happily take much of our fruit, and we must do a lot more trade of our other exports into those countries as well. I think there's a lot more opportunities for us to do that. And lastly, the SME sector. Let us not underestimate the impact of the SME sector, the small and medium enterprises, the impact that it has on the economy. In terms of, firstly, contribution to the economic growth, but also in terms of contribution to employment. Unemployment is a big issue in this country still. Over 34% or so formal unemployment is at that level. But the more we make it easy for small and medium enterprises to set up, whether it is setting up a bank account or registering a company or, and the like, and especially labor, government needs to reduce the red tape, reduce the regulations around it, and make it easy for those type of companies, especially those that are employing less than 100 people. Make it easy for them to set up and open. So you have more of those companies, whether they're employing 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, there's more food that's being put on the table via people being employed, rather than those people being reliant on the 350 Rand social grant that government is handing out. And that's an issue. So we should be encouraging that. And I think slowly we're seeing some benefit coming there. The fact that we haven't had load shedding or very reduced electricity interruptions over the past year has helped the small and medium enterprises. And I think more and more, if we help them via stability in water, better roads so that transport is better, and better rail so that, again, rail and ports and the like, so that our transport, our water and the like, there's stability and in those services, then you will see more of these businesses flourish, which is, again, good for our KZN economy and then also good for the South African economy. So I think we hopefully, inshallah, as we're going into the December period, it's an important period in terms of tourism for KZN. I pray to the Almighty that our beaches are hopefully in a good order, so that the people from Gauteng and the other provinces and the international visitors, when they're coming in December and January, that they can enjoy our beaches and make sure our hotels are packed, and that all the other businesses like the takeaways and the restaurants and all of that, they can have a bumper season in terms of December and January as well.
Well, and that brings us to the end of tonight's program. A heartfelt thank you to our guest, Yvonne Ridley, who joined us telephonically to share experience of the Freedom Flotilla, and brother FAYYAZ Khan and Hassan Mutala, and not forgetting our technician Asif, for their valuable insights and contribution to this informative and thought-provoking show. From me, Sumaya Khan, thank you for tuning in. Until we meet again. Assalamu alaikum.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban 90.4 and Petermarisburg 105.6 FM every Wednesday from 8 p.m. with Yunus Sakur. That's 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Radio Al-Ansar, keeping you informed.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Plan your dream holiday